There we go. Should be all set. Gonna eat my protein bar first. And I'm telling the 0 people who are in here now. What up, Samster? This protein bar is not very good. Yeah, you're the first one here, Sam. Less than a minute live. Hello, Junior Dog and Gab. The gang's all here. What up, boys? What an article to start with. It's not an article. It's a test. And I figure we can do a best of 3 autism test. I'm gonna wait for a couple more friends to come on in. I gotta move my my fucking chat window though. See there, now you can see, boys. It is PKA day. We start recording at 6. I'm pretty sure our guest tonight is Danny Mullen. Let you eat, and I finished working out, and so I'm eating this Kirkland chocolate protein bar. Zacharias Jones, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna let him drink piss by himself. I don't want to drink piss. This is not a good protein bar at all. I feel like I have to chew it 1,500 times to get it to go down. Thanks a bunch, Hit and Run. Skyer yogurt is good for protein. Thank you, Finum Nosage. Very difficult name, but I appreciate the sub nonetheless. I'm eating a Costco brand protein bar. Not soy protein, bitches. From cow's tits. Way. You think my head only weighs 20 pounds, bitch? Maybe your weak, feminine head only weighs 20 pounds. Mine? Much more. In skull alone, I'm in the 30s. That's a pretty good ratio of protein, actually. Oh, that wasn't very good. Alright, so we're doing, you've passed all these tests? Lots of people. Let me clue you in here. Lots of people out there saying, Taylor, you're clearly autistic. And I'll play along with it for the jokes, but guess what? I'm going to prove once and for all with 3 different online tests. The most rigorous of academic standards. The online test. I'll have you know it took me 40 seconds to find all 3 of these. And if you think that I'd be so vain that I Googled all the types of answers to avoid so I would come up as passing the test, then you clearly don't trust me. Let's do it. See, you're saying, Chumley, you're saying I'm on the Autism scale. I'm saying that's yet to be decided. So we're going to start out with ADD to attitude inside the ADHD mind. Do I have autism? I don't want to read that. I have a feeling I'd just answer it. Do you prefer to read nonfiction over fiction books? Well, I mean, sometimes. Are you always the first one to notice when a friend has gotten a haircut or made a small change to their appearance? Never. I'm never that person that notices that. I don't know. My girlfriend doesn't like when I don't notice her getting haircuts and shit. That's not going to change. Fozzie Teddy, shut the fuck up. Not playing with you right now. Stop barking at people just riding their bikes. Are expressions like curiosity killed the cat or don't count your chickens before they hatch confusing to me? No. Should I would say rarely. There's probably some stupid saying that I don't get. But curiosity killed the cat, don't count your chickens before they hatch. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Pretty easy. But I don't want to say never, so I'll say rarely. There probably is one that I think is stupid. Think about your daily routine. Would you say you follow the same schedule every day of the week and don't like unexpected events? Yeah, I like having a schedule. I like having a nice schedule. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Do you enjoy inventing your own words and expressions that might seem quirky to others? Do I do that? Probably. That's yeah, okay, fine. Very often. Shit, I'm gonna lose. This was just a bad idea. Shit. Did bullies target me in grade school? Nah, I was too big. Too big of a kid. Or no, wait. There was this kid once, Jared, who pushed me down. He pushed me down on the playground. But then I tripped him pretty good later at a different recess, and he scabbed his knee up. So I would call that a wash. So I'll keep it at rarely. Have you always wanted a best friend but never found one? What kind of answer is rarely or sometimes to this? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah, fuck Jared. I bet he's a bitch now. He was fat at that age, and I bet he's even fatter than I am now. Thank you, AJC Awesome, for the sub. No, I've always... I never really... I guess when I was in grade school, I had, like, that best friend, but then once middle school and high school and shit, it was more like I had a group of good friends. So, no, I would say no. I'm kind of interpreting this as, like, this is strongly disagree, this is somewhat disagree, this is neutral, this is, somewhat agree, this is strongly agree. So I guess never. I always had quite a few friends. Do your family members lovingly refer to you as the eccentric professor of the family, even though you don't work anywhere near academia? I've never been called an eccentric professor. That's incredibly lame. But they do. I am kind of weird. So I would say often, I guess. No, sometimes. Okay, let's be honest with yourself, Taylor. A little bit often. You are odd. Yeah, I do get really into games. I get really into games. Watch it, Bran. Fucking watch it, Bran. No gamer words. I get really into games at family get-togethers. That's not autism, though. Remember me, douchebag? It's Jared from high school. Does your family ever call you retarded? That would be a funny-ass question. I don't know, just doing fucking what I do online, of course that's weird. Most people don't do that shit. Do people say I speak like a robot? No. Nobody ever says that. I speak like an eloquent, like, I speak like that fucking movie about the King's Speech, except I never had to get over a stutter. So I'm even better than the King's Speech guy, if you think about it. Yeah, the robot speaking motherfucker. That's like the guy from Grandma's Boy. He's like, does not compute. That movie rocks. I have not watched Grandma's Boy in a while. I'm due for a rewatch of Grandma's Boy. Guest tonight. It's there was a little bit of up in the air stuff. I was texting Chiz about this earlier today. But I think it's gonna be Danny Mullen. Don't hold my feet to the fire on that, but I think so. Do you prefer to play individual games in sports like golf, where everyone works themselves, instead of team sports and games? I'll say sometimes. I had a lot more fun growing up playing team sports like hockey and shit. But I can appreciate some solo sports. I like tennis too, singles tennis. That was fun. Are you always bumping into things or tripping over your own feet? Never. I'm too athletic. I'm light on my feet. I'm like fucking Legolas on that mountain when Saruman is trying to call down all that snow. Legolas, light in his loafers, fucking pitter-pattering right across the top. I never trip. Ever. Are you really, really good at math or music? No. No. Nope. I'm not good at either. I'm bad at both. Is your memory like a steel trap, even for facts that you don't fully understand? I don't know. I remember shit about monkeys, so I'll say sometimes, but I'm not remembering, like, math theorems or where I ate lunch 3 days ago. Things like that. Do you have trouble understanding what people mean when they say they feel embarrassed for someone else? Not at all. I feel embarrassed for other people all the time. That, like, stomachache feeling, especially at things like karaoke. Oof. I hate that feeling. I've never done karaoke, but when I go to karaoke bars, I feel pressure to get drunk so that I'm not as embarrassed for the people who are singing. Unless they're really good. If they're really good, it's not embarrassing. But they're never really good because they're always fucking tanked. It's not that I don't understand where I ate lunch 3 days ago, big-headed retard. I'm saying that, if it weren't quarantine and someone comes up to you on a Sunday and goes, hey, where'd you eat lunch on Wednesday this past week? I probably wouldn't remember. Probably all got lost in the jumble. When you're having a conversation with someone, do you prefer to look at the wall, her shoes, or anywhere but directly into her eyes? Never. No. Maybe that was like being in sales and shit like that for so long, but always look into the eyes. That's how you have a fucking conversation. It feels disrespectful when you're talking to someone and they're staring at a wall or they're like looking at their shoes or they're like rolling. I hate that. I hate having a conversation. If they gave the option of tits, I would have been honest, but they didn't do that, so take that. Sorry, I'm autistic. I have to stare at your fucking melons, ma'am. You were asking for it by walking around outside with big tits. No, I'm autistic. I can't. Yeah. That'd be a funny social experiment. Do you talk to friends at a party the same way you would talk to coworkers in an office? Of course not. Who would do that? That's weird as shit. Even when you're in a quiet place like the library, do you find yourself making involuntary noises like clearing your throat over and over? I mean, sometimes when I'm reading at the library, I go, my dogs are freaking out. I'm autistic and I'm reading. Quiet, boys. Sorry I riled you up. I'm sorry I riled you up. Fozzie, Teddy, be quiet. Even when you're, never. I tap my feet a lot. When I'm doing the podcast, like, I move my legs around, I move my feet around a lot, but that's not a noise, so I guess never. No, I don't want more information. You scored 22 out of 88. The higher the point total, the likely... Look at that. I told you I would pass. One down. Okay, fine. 25. Okay, when you put it that way, it seems not as good of a win. Just say Holy shit, my dogs are freaking out about something. I'm gonna have to put them in the kennel if they don't stop acting up. I'm gonna have to put them in the cage. All right, number 2. This one's got more questions, so it's probably more reputable. Damn, 22 out of 88 seemed like a really good score, but then when you said you're 25% autistic, it doesn't seem as good. That's okay, though. I'll pass this one with flying colors. I prefer to do things on my own rather than with others. Depends what it is. Depends what it is. If it's watching a movie, well, you know what? Slightly disagree. I prefer the company of others. I prefer doing things the same way. For instance, my morning... Yeah, definitely agree. I like having routines. Thanks, George A! I find myself becoming strongly absorbed in something, even upset... Yeah, definitely I do that. I am very sensitive to noise and will earplugs or cover my... Yeah, I've never done that. Sometimes people say I'm being rude, even though I think I'm being polite. Definitely disagree. I'm always hyper conscious about being polite to like people in tolls and waiters and waitresses and like secretaries at offices. I don't like when I see people be rude to service people, and so I always really make an effort to be polite. Big Head Society, thank you so much for the gifted sub. I appreciate it. I find it easy to imagine what characters from a book might look like. I've never really thought about that. I guess I disagree on that. Like, it is kind of hard to... No, that's not even true. But, well... I guess a lot of the time I think of the movie characters. So if I put slightly agree, that's cheating. Slightly disagree. I do go to the movie characters a good bit. I find it easy to talk in groups of people. Definitely agree. I am more interested in finding out about things than people. I'd say slight agree on that one. Slight agree. I find numbers, dates, and strings of information fascinating. Strings of information makes it sound so autistic. But dates I'm interested in. I did spend hours and hours a couple weeks ago going back through all of the kings of England and like reading about all them. Wasted many, many hours doing that. So I guess slightly agree. That was a huge waste of time. I don't even hardly remember the shit I was reading about. But it was cool to go back through all the kings and see, like, it goes from photos, and then it goes back to a style of painting, and then it goes back to a different style of painting, and then by the time you get to, like, year 900, it's just, like, it'll be like, this is, Aeon the Great, and it's a picture of him. Looks like it was done by fucking me, left-handed. I prefer nonfiction books to films and fiction. No, I like films and fiction more. It's easier to lose yourself. Oh, is Bowmeister out, Bran? Oh, that's disappointing. Well, not disappointing. He had a great career. Matt Woodworth, thank you for the $4.69. Don't worry, Big T. Nothing to worry about with a touch of the tism. We don't know if I have it yet. I passed the last test. I find it upsetting if my daily routine is upset or changed. Yeah, I don't like that. It's difficult for me to understand other people's facial expression and body language. That's not at all. I don't have any problems making small talk with new people. Agree, small talk is easy. I notice very small changes in the person's appearance. Not at all. I think out of those last couple questions, I definitely won a couple. When I was young, I used to play lots of Let's Pretend or imaginary games. Yeah. That's normal. Everybody does that. Everybody played Pretend. Yeah, I know. I took an L on the routine, and I think I just took an L on the Fantasyland. Everybody played Pretend as a kid. You telling me you didn't play Pretend? Then you were a boring child. You were a shitty kid, and your parents are probably inside like, wait, does he have no imagination? Why doesn't he play? I like collecting information about things I am interested in. Once again, how is this possibly... Of course, everybody does that. This is a Yeah. Look at this. This test is from the UK. Who knows what's going on over there? I like meeting new people. Yeah, definitely. People talk close to me say I talk about the same things repeatedly. No, nobody's ever said that, but I do talk about hockey a lot. And on the podcast, we do talk about animals fighting a lot. But the podcast is definitely different. That's different than just like a normal chat. But no, I've never had anybody say that. So I'll say disagree on that one to be fair. Question 19. I find it easy to work out what people are thinking or feeling just by looking at their facial expressions. Yeah, that's usually not that hard. New social situations make me feel anxious. No, they don't. That was a W. That was a W column for sure, dude. It's important to me to carefully plan any activities I'm going to do. Yeah. I find it hard to work out what people's intentions are. No, you can usually tell. I would find it really hard to play imaginary games with children. Definitely disagree. I just tap back into imagination land. And I'm solid. I can pretend with the best of them, boys. Let me around your kids. Let me show you. I am a good diplomat and can help ease difficult social or work situations. I would say agree. I am often the last person to understand a joke. Disagree. I like doing things spontaneously. Slightly disagree. I like to have it mapped out. I like to have it mapped out a bit. Well, Bran, the thing about playing with kids is you can't just go to the park. It's like you have to be invited by the parents, usually a family friend. And then you get to pretend that you're playing pretend with them, but really you're talking shit right to them about your parents. You'd be like, oh, I'm a wizard. Your mom's a fucking whore, Billy. She sucked my cock in high school. I'll never forget that. Billy, your dad's a closet alcoholic. He hates his life. Oh, I'm Aragorn. Woo, kids having fun. When you go to sleep, your dad drinks and he thinks about things that I'm not even going to tell you now. You'll figure it out when you're older. Things like that. It's a way to fuck with kids. If I am interrupted doing something, I find it hard to get back to what I was doing beforehand. No. I'll say slightly disagree because everybody, if you're interrupted, for everybody, it's a tiny bit hard to get back on. So I'll say slightly disagree. I notice patterns in things all the time. Well, it's not just me noticing the patterns. It's the fact that the rest of the world seemingly is not acknowledging said patterns, you know? So definitely agree to this one. I have some very strong interests and get upset if I can't pursue them. Thank you, DeWiff. Thank you for the 5 months of sub. Did you ever screen the video of the kid asking Woody for sex advice? Oh, I still have to do that. It's just a little kid asking about sex advice. You know, well, I'll have to screen that one. I have some very strong interests and get upset if I can't pursue them. Yeah, definitely. Desynchronization. Thank you for the 5 buccarinos. Long ass message, so I gotta check over here. I have a presentation tomorrow and could do with the luck, so I thought karma may help me out if I donated to a mentally challenged man. Thanks, brother. Well, thank you for the $5, my friend. And, oh, Neptune, thank you for the sub. I can tell if someone I'm talking to is getting bored. Yes, definitely. I hate that feeling, because then you feel like you have to rush through your story, and then you realize, oh, it wasn't actually good anyway. Look at that. 11 out of 30. That doesn't mean I'm a third autistic. It means that I'm common. No. Not slightism. That's up here. I'm 2 underneath it. 2 underneath. You can't add them up to 50% autistic. That's not how math works. Imagine getting like furious about the results of your online autism test. You know what's funny is like it's totally understood that online IQ tests are total nonsense for the most part. Like you have to go to a person and have it administered to you, but an online autism test, you're like, oh, guess these are the fucking results. Huh? Guess this is reality. All right. The final one. I am a non-binary. No, I'm not going to lie. I'm a male who is 29. 2/3 Audi. Love the excuses. See, I had the Canadian Luke. I had the idea of doing this as like a bit on PKA, but then it was like the amount of time it would take and like having to wait for someone to do it. I wasn't sure if that would play well for audio only people. But who knows? It is difficult for me to understand how other people are feeling when we are talking. Not true. Some ordinary textures that do not bother others feel very offensive when they touch my skin. This is normal, but toilet paper tubes, there's something about the texture of a toilet paper tube that I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about. I hate touching those things. I fucking hate it. There's something about it. It's the cardboard, but other cardboard is fine. It's something about the gritty, like, ugh. I hate that. I hate rubbing my hands on, like, printer paper, too. I don't like that. But I'm not going to freak out about it. When I'm done wiping my ass and there's no more toilet paper, I replace. You hate touching ice on the fridge. See? Some people do that. Deaf autistic on that one. Yeah, okay, fine. Credit where credit's due. I lost that question. I hate touching my grandpa's penis. Yeah. Does that make me autistic? It's like, no, Billy, you were molested. Is it very difficult for me to work and function in groups? No. I like group work. As long as you don't get stuck with some lazy bitch. Which you always inevitably do. At least in school. It is difficult to figure out what other people expect from me. When I was younger, yeah. Not now. I don't often know how to act in social situations. Well, true when I was younger, because I definitely misbehaved and would run around malls and break things, and so that wasn't good. Relapse, thanks for the sub, buddy. For you, it's biting towels. You hate biting towels. I've never bit a towel. I don't think that would bother me, though. Biting tinfoil, but that's something that everybody knows is unpleasant. Clipping the tips of your teeth with fucking toenail clippers, that would be unpleasant. I can chat and make small talk with people. I mean, I guess that was true when I was younger, too, because I did not shut the fuck up as a kid. When I feel overwhelmed from my senses, I have to isolate myself to shut them down. Does that just mean that if I get stressed out, that I like some alone time to think? Because that's true. But it's not like I get panicked and I have to be alone. Dwayne, thank you for the sub. Overwhelmed by my senses, though, doesn't make it sound like I'm stressed out about a work thing or something I have to get done. Yeah, that means like if it's too loud or something. Okay, so that's not true. I've never been upset by noises and stuff. How to make friends and socialize is a mystery to me. No, it was always not that hard to make friends. When talking to someone, I have a hard time telling when it is my turn to talk or to listen. When I was younger, definitely true. I never stopped to let people or let adults talk. I just would motorboat. Motorboat? Is that even what it is? Sometimes I have to cover my ears to block out painful noises, like vacuum cleaners or people talking too much or too loudly. No. I love the sound of my vacuum. It means cleanliness is coming. It can be very hard to read someone's face, hand, and body movements when we are talking. No, even when I was younger. Like, you can tell when someone's pissed at you. Yeah, everybody's just writing Woody in chat. I focus on details rather than the overall idea. Thank you, Matt Woodworth, for the sub. I thought you had already subbed. I thought I'd seen your name in there. Oh, there's your second month. Thank you very much. I focus on... Wait, did I miss one? No. I focus on details rather than the overall idea. That was really true when I was younger. I would like have trouble getting projects done because I would get so fixated on little things, but not anymore. I take things too literally, so I often miss what people are trying to say. No. I get extremely upset when the way I like to do things is suddenly changed. That was definitely true when I was younger. I think I could roll with the punches a little bit more now. Let's see. Another passing grade. Scored a total of 8. Boom! This is the most accurate test. This is the accurate one. That last one we did that said that I was almost into the slight category, that's pseudoscientific nonsense. Nonsense. Yeah, I do think the questions I'm getting wrong are more about obsessive compulsive shit than they are autism. I think you're right. 25% autistic. Yeah, I'm also, thank you, Stringer. I'm also in the I'm not autistic gang. And if I am, that just makes me brave, right? That makes me a brave boy. The struggles I go through every day just to live in the world like you, what do they call it? Like neurodiverse? What's the fucking word they made up? Neurotypical. Jesus. Isn't that lame? Well, we have to have a label for people who don't have mental disorders. It's like, shut the fuck up, bitch. Who cares? Yeah, it's called neuro. Shut the fuck up about it already. Yes, I identify as neuro-retarded. That's a neuro-retarded man. Alright, so this is a video I genuinely did want to watch, and I figured I'd watch it on stream. So it's called Timelapse the Future, and I had multiple people telling me it was fucking sick. Really fucking cool shit. Lasky, thank you so much. Baked ziti and gabagool. I was watching The Sopranos last night, and genuinely in my head I was like, damn, I would love to make some extra cheesy baked ziti and just go to town. Oh, that would be delicious. Everybody loves ziti. Unless you're like lactose intolerant. In which case, fuck you, you're not coming to my house anyway. Only lactose-loving fucks welcome here. Yeah, this is called Timelapse of the Future. It's supposed to be really, really tight. And so let's give this a go. Make sure it's loud enough for you guys. Oh my god, boys, shut the fuck up.
The Holocene has ended. What we do now and in the next few years will profoundly affect the next few thousand years.
They really got Attenborough for this. This must be a big deal.
The only conditions modern humans have ever known so far are changing, and changing fast.
Nothing stays the same on this planet. Everything changes. The Earth is going into one of these jumps, and you don't know what is going to be on the other side of those jumps. The Earth is always jumping.
Yeah, this is going to be sick. I can already tell.
Things move on this planet. Things are not still. Everything is turning.
Jesus, we're at the year almost 20,000 already. do we know this shit?
As it begins to run out of fuel, the sun won't simply fade away to nothing. Its core will collapse, and the extra heat this generates will cause its outer layers to expand.
This is 5 billion years from now.
The sun is now dead. Its remains slowly cooling in the freezing temperatures of deep space. The fate of the sun is the same as for all stars. One day, they must all eventually die, and the cosmos will be plunged into eternal night.
All stars eventually will run out of fuel. The temperature of the universe drops. The stars, one by
Jesus,
one,
we're in the trillions of
night
years.
sky will turn off. And there'll be no more new stars created. And so that the universe will end not with a bang, but with a whimper. And not in fire, but in ice.
Muted like a retard. Sorry, my dogs are barking. I'm saying, how am I supposed to conceptualize 1,000 trillion years?
With no fuel left to burn, a white dwarf's faint glow comes from the last residual heat from its extinguished furnace. Looking at
Yeah,
it
the
from where the
degenerate
Earth
era.
is now, it would only generate the same amount of light as the full moon on a clear night. The faint glow of white dwarfs
1
will
million
provide
trillion.
the only illumination in a dark and empty void littered with dead stars and black holes.
In some ways, it's kind of a ghost universe. It's the corpses, the zombie stars, that will take us into the future.
We were talking about the autism tests. I can already tell I'm going to get into like a 6-hour post-PKA research rabbit hole about all this future stuff. This is so interesting. This is the most interesting shit ever. This is going to be a fun new thing to obsess about for like 8 or 9 days. And then I'll find something else. Billion trillion years. Fuck. Yeah, Granny slams in. This is
A
sad.
black dwarf will
Kinda.
be the final fate of those last stars. White dwarfs that have become so cold that they barely emit any more heat or light.
I didn't know a black dwarf was a
Black
thing.
dwarfs are dark, dense, decaying balls of degenerate matter. Little more than the ashes of stars.
Thank you, Kyle, for the sub.
Their constituent atoms are so severely crushed that black dwarfs are 1,000,000 times denser than our sun.
But there's still didgeridoos in the year 500 trillion trillion.
Stars take so long to reach this point, we believe there are currently no black dwarfs in the universe.
Going through the tunnel of the Willy Wonka ride. Yeah, Eye of Sauron looking thing. Everything comes full circle back to Lord of the Rings.
We have a pace of life that's based on really the energy available to us now. You could imagine living conscious systems which have a very different pace and therefore can extend out at least a lot farther than you'd imagine otherwise. You could have a living system where if it had a thought every 10 trillion years, that would seem normal.
Damn, isn't that a trip of a thought?
Even if our life dies out, one could imagine at some time arbitrarily far in the future, a fluctuation occurs which allows intelligent life to exist again for a little while. So you might have islands in time of intelligence.
I thought nothing could go faster than the speed of light. Trillion
Proton,
years.
one of the fundamental building blocks of atomic matter, what makes us up, can just spontaneously fall apart.
Any material that evades the pull of a black hole eventually dies away as its protons disintegrate.
Is this the guy from Dirty Jobs? Mike Rowe? Yeah.
The matter inside black dwarfs, the last matter in the universe, will eventually evaporate away and be carried off into the void as radiation, leaving absolutely nothing behind.
What? Nothing?
With the black dwarfs gone, there won't be a single atom of matter left. All that will remain of our once rich cosmos will be particles of light and black holes.
How? You got trillion written 3 times down there, and we're just starting?
The arrow of time creates a bright window in the universe's adolescence, during which life is possible. But it's a window that doesn't stay open for long. As a fraction of the lifespan of the universe, as measured from its beginning to the evaporation of the last black hole, life, as we know it, is only possible for 1,000th of a billion billionth billionth of a percent.
How do you get that? How could you possibly know?
Black holes become the fundamental building block of the universe. A galaxy will basically be a supermassive black hole in a center with smaller black holes orbiting it.
Zombie galaxies filled with black holes continue to evolve.
They'll eat each other and they'll get bigger, and maybe they'll fall into the supermassive black hole and it'll get bigger. The universe will still be an exciting, dynamic place. It's just that the timescales you're talking about.
If this Dirty Jobs motherfucker adds a 5th trillion down there, I'm calling bullshit. It's too many years. It's too many.
Are now trillions of years instead of thousands or millions of years.
Black holes can bang on space-time like mallets on a drum. And they have a very characteristic song. Imagine 2 black holes that have lived a long life together. At the end of their lives, they're going around each other, crossing thousands of kilometers in a fraction of a second. As they do so, they leave behind in their wake a ringing of space, an actual wave on space-time. Space squeezes and stretches as it emanates out from these black holes banging on the universe. Those are the gravitational waves. They are literally the sounds of space ringing. And they will travel out from these black holes at the speed of light as they ring down and coalesce to one spinning, quiet black hole. If you were standing near enough, your ear would resonate with the squeezing and stretching of space. You would literally hear the sound.
It sounds awful and terrifying.
Imagine a lighter black hole falling into a very heavy black hole. The sound you're hearing is a light black hole banging on space each time it gets close. As it falls in, it gets faster and it gets louder.
It's in space. This is like a 2011 Skrillex song. 5 trillions, bitch. Gah.
Scientists used to think black holes were immortal, but even these will one day die.
Now we're talking about timescales of unimaginable length, quadrillions of years into the future. On that timescale, even the black holes begin to evaporate.
According to quantum
Thanks,
mechanics,
Pyro. You have a great day, too.
Space is filled with virtual particles, antiparticles, that are constantly materializing in pairs, separating, coming together again, and annihilating each other. In the presence of a black hole, one member of a pair of virtual particles may fall into the hole, leaving the other member without a partner with which to annihilate. The forsaken particle appears to be radiation emitted by the black hole.
I get he knew a lot about space, but use a real guy's voice.
Black holes are not eternal. They evaporate away at an increasing rate until they vanish in a gigantic explosion. Quantum mechanics has allowed
It's not his voice, it's like a
particles
speak and spell.
radiation to escape from the ultimate prison, a black hole.
Ah, a little bit of upbeat music. Maybe Earth is gonna be okay. Earth 2. I could fight billions and billions of Stephen Hawkings. It would just take a while.
Philosophers and poets have asked the question, will the world end in fire or ice? We can now give an answer. The latest evidence shows that the universe is not slowing down, but it's speeding up out of control. And the universe, we think, will die in...
Is this Dr. Michio Kaku? Is this Dr. Michio? Talking about space and all of the things in the universe.
Ice. Trillions upon trillions of years from now.
Empty space itself has energy. In every little cubic centimeter of space, whether or not there's stuff, whether or not there's particles, matter, radiation, or whatever, there is still energy even in the space itself. And this energy, according to Einstein, exerts a push on the universe.
What is the weird stuff that's accelerating the universe? We call it dark energy.
A little racist, but okay.
Stuff is the dominant stuff of the universe. Almost 3/4 of the matter energy content of the universe is this dark energy. And we don't know what it is.
6 trillions now. Christ.
Dark energy, unlike matter or radiation, does not dilute away as the universe expands. This has crucial implications for what the universe is going to do in the future.
So what will be the future of the universe? Well, if the dark energy remains dominant and repulsive, the universe will expand forever. Faster and faster and faster with time. A runaway universe.
70% of the energy of the universe resides in empty space, and we don't understand why. But we do know what will happen if that energy continues to be there. The universe will become cold and dark and empty. That's the future as it might be. We don't know because we don't yet understand the nature of dark energy. Until we do, we won't know the future. We won't even understand our own origins, and that's why we want to know and study this subject.
No, it's not just the gals tonight on PKA. I was talking. It is probably Danny Mullen, is my understanding. So there you go. Yeah, he's the piss drinker. What are we looking at now? Oh, these are all the multiverses. It's tomatoes.
The forecast does seem to be for an ever colder, ever emptier universe. But then, of course, we have to ask, could that end lead to a new beginning? And there are ideas whereby what actually is the end of our universe could, in some sense, be linked to the beginning of a new one.
We've worked out the mathematics, the equations. They seem to say that if you have an atom smasher that can concentrate tremendous amounts of energy at a single point, you can perhaps open up a gateway, a baby universe.
But how?
Facing the death of everything there is, this perhaps is their only possibility of escape. And this also raises a very intriguing possibility, sheer speculation, of
Thank
course,
you, Burnt Edibles.
that perhaps any universe that has intelligent life in it will create baby universes, will create lifeboats, and proliferate child universes. So an evolution may take among universes in the multiverse. Survival of the fittest may take place. So those universes which do not have intelligent life,
Big Low, thank you for the sub.
They have no children. But those universes that have mild temperatures, stars like us, would create civilizations that could open up child universes, and they would then proliferate.
Now the time's ticking up super quick again. Thanks for the $2, Swahili Stack. I think I missed it. What exactly are they saying will happen this far in the future? From what I can tell, they don't fucking know. They think a lot of not-so-chill things are gonna happen. I guess it's chill at a certain point. It's very not chill when we get destroyed. But I won't be around. Who fucking cares? That's a problem for the future.
After an unimaginable length of time, even the black holes will have evaporated, and the universe will be nothing but a sea of photons gradually tending towards the same temperature as the expansion of the universe cools them towards absolute zero.
This guy's smiling way too big. I can tell. He's too excited about this. Thanks, Athena of War, for hosting me.
Once the very last remnants of the very last stars have finally decayed away to nothing, and everything reaches the same temperature, the story of the universe finally comes to an end. For the first time in its life, the universe will be permanent and unchanging. Entropy finally stops increasing because the cosmos cannot get any more disordered. Nothing happens, and it keeps not happening forever.
Well, this quote by Helen Keller has made the entire last half hour mean nothing. A fraudulent quote. A fraudulent quote. Even if she were alive today, she couldn't watch the video. And we're supposed to think that she knew about some of this? No. No, thank you. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You can't play that chunk of wood with tea game that you play at Cracker Barrel. I'm not taking your theories on theoretical physics seriously. So, sorry, Helen. Yeah, that video was fucking sick, though. That was a really cool video. That was really cool. Cracker Barrel's open again. It's got good breakfast food there. Yeah, it's big fake. Maybe, I don't fucking know. Do future tech videos? Well, when I opened this video in the sidebar, I found this guy's channel, and he's got a bunch of interesting stuff. Like, I saw this, why black holes could delete the universe. It seems kind of neat. So I'm going to watch another space video.
Are the most powerful things in the universe. Strong enough to rip whole stars.
Oh, Swahili Sack, thanks for the $2 and thanks for the $3.50. Appreciate it, my friend.
Into atom-sized pieces. Well, this is scary enough. They have an even more powerful and dark property. They might delete the universe itself.
See, the cartoons make this less frightening. Kurzgesagt, that's like a German name. I trust them.
In a nutshell.
They know science.
A black hole appears when an extraordinary amount of matter is concentrated in a tiny space. At their center, gravity is almost infinitely strong, and whatever gets too close is ripped into its elementary particles. Not even light can escape black holes, and so we perceive them as spheres of blackness. If you were to fall into a black hole, nothing bad would happen until well after you crossed its outer border, the event horizon. You can imagine this as swimming in a river that
Okay,
ends
I've always
in an
wondered
enormous
this. Come on,
waterfall.
break this down for me, man. What
As you
happens?
float along, imperceptibly, the stream gets faster and faster, even if you can't see the waterfall yet. You could swim to safety until, without even noticing it, you cross the point of no return. No matter how fast you try to swim now, the stream will pull you towards certain death. Nothing can escape a black hole waterfall once it gets too close. This border completely separates black holes from the rest of the universe. We can't access them unless we're willing to never return. So there's no way of telling what's really going on inside black holes, but we have a few ideas about what's going on right at their very edges. Black holes radiate their mass away, like a hot pot on a stove losing its water as steam. This is called Hawking radiation. Black holes constantly lose an extremely tiny amount of their mass, a process that's unbelievably slow. It will take a black hole with the mass of our sun 10,000 billion years to lose 0.0000001% of its mass. This is happening constantly and unstoppably.
That is very slow.
As it goes on, it speeds up more and more. In the far, far future, when the last star in the universe has been dead for trillions of years, black holes will become tinier and tinier until they evaporate and disappear, leaving behind just a bit of radiation. But this is a problem, because in the process of disappearing, black holes might delete something fundamental: information. 2. What is information? Information is nothing tangible. It's typically understood as a property of the arrangement of particles. What does this mean? Imagine a bunch of carbon atoms. Arrange them in a certain way and you get coal.
Thank you, Amish
Arrange
Donkey.
them in a different way and you get a diamond.
Oh, thank you, Matt Woodworth, for the 3 gifted
The
subs. I
atoms are
really
the same.
appreciate it, my big dick friend.
What changes is the information.
Thank you.
If we make this more complex and add in a few more atoms, we get a banana. Change the arrangement of the atoms and we get a squirrel. The basic building blocks of everything in the universe are the same and don't care if they're part of a bird or a rock or a cup of coffee. Without information, everything in the universe would be the same. According to the theory of quantum mechanics, information is indestructible. It might change shape, but it can never be lost. For example, if you burn a piece of paper, you get ash. That ash will never become paper again. But if you were able to carefully collect every single carbon atom in the ash and measured the exact properties of the smoke and heat radiating from the fire, you could, in theory, reconstruct the paper. The information of the paper is still in the universe. It's not lost, it's just hard to read. If you could somehow measure every single atom and particle and wave of radiation in the universe, you could see and track every bit of information there is. Hypothetically, you could see the entire history of the universe right back to the Big Bang. And here, black holes trip us up. Information tells us how things are different from each other and what used to be what. Black holes do the opposite. They take different things and make them the same. They destroy information. This creates the information paradox, and this is a serious problem. The information paradox. It's fundamental for all our laws of physics that information can never be lost. Existing, not existing, without information, everything is relative. When it comes to our understanding of reality, we need absolutes. How could we solve this paradox? There are a few possibilities. 1. Information is lost, irretrievably and forever. This means we have to nix all our laws of physics, throwing out a lot of stuff that's worked very well so far and start from scratch. What those new laws of physics would look like, or what that means for us, nobody knows. This is a little frightening, but also kind of exciting. 2. Information is hidden. Maybe a little part of the black hole splits off and forms a baby universe.
Yeah, we really don't know anything.
The information would be transferred into this new, weird place where we could never observe or interact with it, but technically it would not be lost. It's like having a broken hard drive with all your family photos that you could never access. Sure, it's nice that they've not been deleted, but also not very helpful. Or maybe black holes don't disappear completely after the end of their life cycles, but a little piece is left, an information diamond. Like a clown car filled with an infinite amount of information clowns.
That's a terrible comparison. That's not helpful.
Information is safe after all, not lost or hidden. Perhaps we've just been
Matt
looking at this whole
Woodworth
thing
with
the
3
wrong way.
more gifted subs. Thank
We
you
know
so
that
much,
black
Matt. That's
holes
6
trap
on the day.
information and might
Big dick
delete it
move.
later, but we never thought about what they do with it in the meantime. Where do black holes store their information?
Yeah, honestly, the writer for this, who was like, how will we help him understand it? Well, think of them as information clowns that are in an infinite form of clown cars. It's like, shit, but that's so not helpful. I know less than I did before that comparison.
Cosmic housekeeping. Let's create a black hole with dirty laundry. First, we fill up a room with laundry baskets. The more laundry you want to store, the more baskets you put in the room. But at some point, every single basket is full and the room is completely stacked. Not a single extra sock fits in. The room is at maximum capacity. But if we still squeeze the sock in with a lot of energy and violence, the room collapses in on itself and forms a black hole. But the capacity of the room itself has not changed. Fitting in more stuff or information is still impossible. So what happens if we throw more laundry into it? The room itself gets a little bit bigger to make space for the new information. It turns out a black hole grows its surface by a tiny pixel for each bit of information we throw into it. In a nutshell, more information means more surface area. The information gets painted on the surface, similar to what happens when we throw a stone into a pond. After the stone sinks to the bottom, we can't see it anymore, but we can tell that something went in from the ripples on the surface of the pond. Even the smallest black hole can store more information on its surface than all the data ever produced in human history. They do this by storing information in a type of pixel that is unbelievably tiny. Black holes are the ultimate hard drive. This is a bit like taking a paperback and turning it into an ebook. Two things that look completely different, but their content is the same. It's just encoded and memorized in another way. Black holes swallowing stars and planets is a bit like transferring a whole library onto an e-reader. This solution is called the holographic principle. But if it's correct, then everything we thought we knew about the universe is wrong. The universe is a hologram. If information is actually stored on the boundary of a black hole, the Hawking radiation has a chance of learning about the information encoded there and can carry it away. So, information is not lost when black holes fade away, and we do not need to redo physics. The information paradox is resolved. But we still have to change our understanding of reality in a fundamental way. If everything that falls into the black hole is stored on its event horizon, that basically means that three-dimensional stuff is encoded on a flat surface. We have a name for this, a hologram. A hologram is like a 3D photo, a flat piece of plastic that encodes a three-dimensional image. A black hole is like a hologram because everything inside it is encoded on its event horizon. A person inside a black hole would experience their usual three-dimensional life. But for us on the outside, they are flattened images on the surface of the black hole. The consequence of this is counterintuitive, but stay with us for a moment. Black holes are very extreme objects, but they're still bound to the same rules as everything else. So if this crazy duality between 2D and 3D works for black holes, then it might work for the...
I thought black holes weren't held to the same rules, and that's why a lot of that shit from the last video happened. No? No, I don't... whatever.
Whole universe and you in it. Since a person inside a black hole would not realize that they're encoded on a flat surface, we might share the same fate. You really might be stretched over a flat screen at the end of the universe. The science behind this is complicated and really weird, with toy universes to play with, string theory, and a lot of maths. We'll talk about this more in another video. Regardless of what the true nature of the universe really is, we just know that it's strange and complicated, and we have to do a lot more physics to understand it. But black holes might be key to understanding the nature of reality itself. This video was supported by the Swiss National Science Foundation and realized with the scientific advice of Alessandro Sfondri.
I don't know. This could just be big science trying to scam us the way they did with vaccines and medicine. Bunch of mumbo jumbo, if you ask me. I did want to watch this nuke one. Bunch of fucking mumbo jumbo. Watch the Great Filter. I'll look that up. What is it? Is this Black Science Man? The nuke one sucks? Oh, that's disappointing. What time is PKA? We always start recording at 6 p.m. Central. 7 Eastern. Well, I thought that one of the nuke ones seemed cool. Nuke one is great. Yeah, I'm watching Nuka City, and if Nuka City is good, I want to upgrade to nuke everything at once. Because if I'm being honest, my knowledge on nukes leaves something to be desired. I would go so far as to say I'm somewhat of a novice when it comes to nuclear physics. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm humble enough to say that.
And with nuclear weapons in videos is fun. There's a visceral joy in blowing things up and a horrifying fascination with things like fireballs, shockwaves, and radiation. And while it does help put our destructive power in perspective, it's not the best way of understanding the real impact of a nuclear explosion. This isn't about city stacks of TNT or about how bright an explosion is. Nuclear weapons are about you. So we've partnered with the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement to explore what would really happen if a nuclear weapon were detonated in a...
This is just an aside, but if there are... Oh, Squeaky Hamster, thank you so much for the sub. This is an aside, but if there are any really good videos about, like, comparing the size of bombs in the past, like, as they got more advanced, that would be a really cool video to watch. So tweet those at me if you know one of those that's really cool, because that sounds sick.
Major city today. Not nuclear war, just one explosion.
Watch the Vsauce one.
We begin our story in the middle of downtown in a major city. People are going to work, studying for exams, are lost in their thoughts and daily lives. Right here, a nuclear weapon is detonated and time freezes. The first phase of the explosion happens within less than a second. In a millisecond, a ball of plasma hotter than the sun appears and grows in a fireball to more than 2 kilometers across. Within this ball, everyone is just gone. Think of water dripped onto a very hot pan. A sizzle, and then there's nothing. Most buildings, cars, trees, tacky sculptures, and people, all evaporated.
That's wild.
First, the flash, an intense tsunami of light, washes over the city in an instant. If you happen to have your head pointed in the direction of the explosion, it renders you blind for a few hours.
Thank you, Susiana, for the sub. Really appreciate it.
Produces a thermal pulse, so energetic and hot that it just burns everything as far as 13 kilometers from the detonation site. What this means is that everything in an area of 500 square kilometers that is able to burn starts burning. Plastic, wood, fabric, hair, and skin. If you happen to be in reach of the thermal pulse, one moment you're on your way to work, the next moment you're on fire. Now the second phase begins.
You die so fast.
It happens in a few seconds. Most people will now first notice that something is wrong, but it's already too late for hundreds of thousands. The flash is followed by the shockwave. The heat and radiation of the fireball create a bubble of superheated and supercompressed air around it that's now expanding explosively. Faster than the speed of sound, creating winds stronger than hurricanes and tornadoes. Human infrastructure is no match for its power. Most major buildings within a kilometer of the fireball are just ground up down to their base. Only steel-reinforced concrete is able to partially resist the pressure. In the surrounding parks where retirees feed the ducks, trees blackened and smoldering from the heat a second before snap like toothpicks. If you're outside, you get tossed away like a grain of dust in a tornado. The shockwave weakens as it travels outwards, but still, about 175 square kilometers of houses collapse like they're made of cards, trapping tens of thousands of people who didn't have any time to react. Gas stations explode and fires spread throughout the rubble. A mushroom cloud made from the remains of the fireball, dust and ash rises kilometers into the sky in the next few minutes and casts a dark shadow over the ruined
Inventing
city.
these things was a mistake.
This violently pulls in fresh air surrounding the city, destroying more buildings and providing an abundance of oxygen. It depends on the city what happens next. If there's enough fuel, fires may turn into a firestorm that burns the rubble, everybody trapped in it, and people trying to flee the devastation. Up to 21 kilometers from the explosion, people just like you rush to their windows to take pictures of the mushroom cloud, unaware that the shockwave is still coming at them, about to shatter their windows and create a blizzard of sharp glass. The third phase begins in the coming hours and days. We're used to the idea that help will come no matter the disaster. This time is different. A nuclear explosion is like every natural disaster at once. There are hundreds of thousands.
The most, totally believable thing about this is how everyone with an Instagram account would just get shards of glass in their eyes from trying to take photos and shit for clout as this was happening. That's a guarantee. Very realistic take from this guy. So I'm trusting him.
Or millions of people with serious injuries, lacerations, broken bones, serious burns. In the next few minutes and hours, thousands more will die because of these injuries. Countless people are trapped in collapsed buildings like in earthquakes, or blinded by the flash, deaf from the blast wave, and unable to flee through streets impassable with rubble and debris. They're terrified, confused, and don't know what's happened to them or why. Most likely, many hospitals have been leveled along with all the other buildings, and most medical professionals are either dead or injured along with everyone else. The survivors lucky enough to have been in metro tunnels or standing in the right place to be unburned and unhurt won't have truly escaped harm yet. Depending on the type of weapon, where it explodes, and even the weather, an awful black rain can begin, with radioactive ash and dust descending on the city, covering everything and everyone. The invisible, malicious, silent horror of radiation takes its turn. Every breath carries poison to the lungs of the
Dogger,
survivors.
thank you for the $3.
Over the coming days,
Nervous about
the people
Taylor,
who
you nervous
receive the
about
highest
tomorrow?
doses
No.
of radiation exposure will die. There will be no help,
unless there's a
not
nuke.
for hours or maybe even days.
But nobody's nuking St. Louis,
Civilization
man.
doesn't operate when there is a total breakdown of infrastructure. Roads are blocked, train tracks warped, runways cluttered with rubble. No water, no electricity, no communication, no stores to replenish supplies from. Help from surrounding cities will have a hard time entering the disaster zone, and even if they can, the radioactive contamination will make it risky to get too close. After a nuclear attack, you're on your own. So, bit by bit, people emerge from the rubble.
Slowpoke Moses, thank you so much.
With radioactive fallout,
Thank you for subscribing.
carrying
I
what
hope you
little
never
they
die
may
of a
have
nuke.
left. They are slow, in pain, traumatized, and they all need food, water, and medical treatment fast.
Thank you, Big
And
Head
the damage
Society.
done by a nuclear weapon doesn't end when the fires burn out and the smoke clears. The hospitals in the neighboring cities are under-equipped for a disaster of this scale and overwhelmed with tens or hundreds of thousands of patients with serious injuries. In the weeks, months, and years to come, many of those who survived will succumb to cancers like leukemia. The reason no government wants you to think about all this is because there is no serious humanitarian response possible to a nuclear explosion. There's no way to really help the immediate victims of a nuclear attack. This is not a hurricane, wildfire, or earthquake, or nuclear accident. It is all of these things at once.
But it's got to be like a matter of time until we come up with some sort of robot suit that can do it, right? I mean, if we can make nukes, we can make a robot suit that can resist it to walk in there, right, and save people. But then they'll be all fucked up. They probably don't want to be saved. Yeah, a nuclear-powered robot suit. Well, I mean, everybody in the center part is fucked, but those little periphery people, like the old people and the kids playing at the park that got kind of burned up, you could probably save them a bit with robot suits. Right? Right?
But worse, no nation on Earth is prepared to deal with it. The world has changed in the past few years, with world leaders again explicitly and publicly threatening each other with nuclear weapons. Many experts think the danger of a nuclear strike is higher than it has been in decades. Governments tell their citizens that it's good that we have nuclear weapons, but it's bad when anyone else gets them. That it's somehow necessary to threaten others with mass destruction to keep us safe. But does this make you feel safe? It only takes a small group of people with power to go crazy or rogue, a small misstep or a simple misunderstanding to unleash a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. Exploding stuff in videos is fun. Exploding things in real life, not so much. There is a solution though. Eliminating all nuclear weapons and vowing never to build them again. In 2017, almost 2/3 of all the world's countries supported by...
That is a hilarious solution. Like, imagine getting up in front of the entire world and being like, all right, the only way we can solve this, guys, is if everybody gets rid of all their weapons and we all get together and we pinky promise and then we kiss our hands together and say we're never going to do that ever again. It's like, what the fuck? Are you high? Of course that's not going to work. No one's going to get rid of it. There are countries that exist right now that won't even sign nuclear non-proliferation agreements. You think you're going to convince everybody to get rid of their shit?
Hundreds of civil society organizations and the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement agreed to prohibit and eliminate nuclear weapons. It's not about who has nuclear weapons and who doesn't. The weapons themselves are the problem. They are deeply immoral and an existential threat to all of us. No matter what country you come from, no matter what political side you find yourself on, we need to demand that they disappear forever. This will not happen without pressure. If you want to be part of this pressure, there are things you personally can do too. Visit notonukes.org to...
Nah, nukes are tight, dude. I'm not going there. I do want to know what happens if we blow up every nuke at once. Everybody's always wondered this, right? What happens? YesToNukes.org. And the whole it's just some shitty mid-2000s style webpage with like GIFs in the background, a paneled GIF background, like a MySpace page. Auto plays music when you join, but it's like fucking like Rob Zombie amp up music, and it just shows all the cool bombs we've built over the years. That would get signatures.
Many of our viewers have asked us a very serious question. What if we made a big pile of bombs and exploded every nuclear weapon in the world all at once? Strangely enough, we couldn't find a good source to answer this question to our satisfaction. So, we gathered together a few scientists to calculate what would happen and find an answer to this extremely important scientific problem once and for all. Currently, there are 15,000 nuclear weapons on Earth.
That we know about.
The US and Russia both have around 7,000, while France, China, the UK, Pakistan, India, Israel, and North Korea own around 1,000 between them. But how much destructive power is this really? Let's try to put these numbers into perspective.
Thank you, the government never lies.
On Earth, there are about 4,500 cities or urban areas with at least 100,000 inhabitants. Some are bigger than others, so we'll assume that on average we need 3 nuclear bombs to completely wipe out one city. This means we could destroy every single city on planet Earth with our nuclear arsenal, killing more than 3 billion people, roughly half of humanity, in an instant. And we'd still have 1,500 nuclear weapons left. Now that's what an expert would call overkill. So we can say with confidence that we have a lot of nuclear weapons and they can do a lot of damage. But what if we make a huge pile of all 15,000 bombs and pull the trigger? Let's drop our nuclear pile in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, just to show nature who's boss. Our warheads, piled haphazardly, fit into a small warehouse. A typical US warhead has the power of 200,000 tons of TNT. So 15,000
this is what I wanted to know.
The equivalent of 3 billion tons of TNT. For scale, this is enough to rebuild the whole island of Manhattan with every building and skyscraper using stacks of TNT.
Jesus
The
Christ.
closest thing we can compare to the energy gathered here is a volcano. One of the deadliest volcanic eruptions in recorded history took place in 1883 on the island of Krakatoa. The eruption was so powerful that 70% of the island and the surrounding archipelago was destroyed, killing tens of thousands of people. Its effects were felt around the world for days after the event. Our nuclear pile contains 15 times the energy of the Krakatoa volcanic eruption. So let's finally push the button. 3,
That's
2,
insane.
1. In a second, a fireball 50 kilometers across vaporizes everything in its way and creates a blast wave that flattens 3,000 square kilometers of forest. Every living thing within 250 kilometers will start to burn. The explosion will be heard literally around the world as the pressure wave circles the Earth tens of times over the next few weeks. Millions of tons of incinerated material are catapulted into the atmosphere. The mushroom cloud reaches the outer reaches of the stratosphere, pushing up against space itself. After things have calmed down, a small crater, about 10 kilometers across, is left in the center of the worst wildfires the planet has seen in millennia, spreading throughout South America, burning down forests and cities alike. And now, the unpleasant part begins. Extremely radioactive material will kill living things very quickly, and a large area several kilometers around the crater is now uninhabitable, as is everywhere for hundreds of kilometers downwind. Much of the fallout is carried high into the atmosphere by the mushroom cloud and carried around the planet.
So it fucks all of South America right away, pretty much?
The amount of radioactive material in the environment doubles worldwide, which still isn't civilization ending, but we may see more cancer for a while. A portion of the particles will float to the edge of space for years and cause a nuclear winter that could lower global temperatures by a few degrees for a few years. This explosion was pretty bad if you're in South America and especially Brazil. The Amazon rainforest is pretty much history, which is not great, but human life will go on. Okay, but what if we explode more nuclear weapons? Let's suppose humanity decided to mine every bit of uranium on Earth and build as many nuclear bombs as possible. At current usage, it's estimated that there are around 35 million tons of uranium in Earth's crust, enough to power human civilization for over 2,000 years, or to build millions of nuclear warheads. For the sake of argument, let's say we create a pile with a yield of 10 billion Hiroshima bombs, which makes up a cube 3 kilometers high that contains roughly the energy of the asteroid impact that ended the age of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Except it's also nuclear. 3, 2, 1.
It's too many bombs.
Our pile explodes in a fireball stretching so high into the sky that it's visible from half of South America, with so much power that the ground just splashes like water, forming a crater 100 kilometers across. Bedrock on the scale of whole mountain ranges is vaporized in an instant, while thousands of tons of material is catapulted away with such speed that it's ejected into space. Some leaves Earth forever, while most of it comes raining down as hot, burning debris that heats up the atmosphere to oven-like temperatures, killing most big animals and causing firestorms all over the world. The Earth's crust rings like a bell, struck by global earthquakes stronger than anything in recorded history, decimating cities around the world, while hurricane-force winds flatten every single tree in South America and wildfires consume the continent. The abundance of hydrocarbons in the Amazon burn to form ash are cast into the atmosphere, darting the sky and keeping sunlight from reaching the surface, dropping temperatures to near freezing worldwide. The ensuing global winter may last for decades and results in the extinction of every large animal species, humans included. We could also mention that every corner of the planet is covered with radioactive fallout,
this is like
but
a
at this
supervillain
point,
shit.
It doesn't matter that much anymore. This is humanity's extinction event. The astronauts aboard the International Space Station get to enjoy a great view for a while, but it's not unlikely that the spray of rocks blast into orbit will destroy the station. Those lucky enough to be in bunkers or in submarines deep below the ocean surface may survive the longest before they exhaust their food supplies and have to venture out for more. They'll find the world a charred, freezing, radioactive wasteland. The planet itself doesn't care at all. After just a few million years, the wounds of the explosions have healed and life is thriving, arguably even more so than when humans were around. If intelligent life
We get
emerges
big
again,
fucked up rabbits,
it might
I
be able
guess.
to work out what happened. When they study geology, they'll find a bizarre and very thin layer of rock covering the entire world, enriched in radioactive elements like uranium and the other nasty things it decays to, mixed with rare earth metals and plastics that humans used. They would probably be very, very confused. Videos like this one take well over 1,200 hours to finish. Over the years, we put more and more effort into research, conversations with experts, illustration and animation, sound design and fact-checking. For this video, we put a lot of extra work into our sources document. You can read how we got to the information in the video, what our experts thought about it, where they disagreed with each other. We can take the time to do this because of you, our viewers.
What else? This guy's channel's really, really cool. Great filter. That was the one some people were asking for. Great filter. Okay.
Imagine NASA announced today that they found aliens. Bacteria on Mars, weird alien fish in the oceans of Europa, and also ancient alien ruins on Titan. Wouldn't that be great? Well, no. It would be horrible news. Devastating even. It could mean that the end of humanity is almost certain and that it might be coming soon. Why? Why would the most exciting discovery of our lifetime be bad?
Yeah, I remember Kyle and Harley
Let us
talking about
imagine
this.
the development of life from its inception to us today as a flight of stairs. The first step is dead chemistry that needs to assemble itself into self-replicating patterns, stable and resilient, but also able to change and evolve. The second step is for our early life to become more complex, able to build more complicated structures, and use the available energy much more efficiently. On the next step, these cells combine to become multicellular beings, enabling unbelievable variety and further complexity. The step above sees the species evolve big brains, enabling the use of tools, culture, and shared knowledge, which creates even higher complexity. The species can now become the dominant life form on its planet and change it according to its needs. First, shy attempts to leave its planet are happening. This is where we are now. It's in the nature of life as we know it to reach out, to cover every niche it can. And since planets have a limited carrying capacity and lifespan, if a species wants to survive, it will look for more places to spread to. So the steps above the current ones seem logical. Colonize your own solar system, then spread further to reach other stars. To the possible final step, becoming a galaxy-wide civilization. It's very likely that this is a universal principle for civilizations, no matter where they're from. If a species is competitive and driven enough to take control over its planet, they'll probably not stop there. We know that there are up to 500 billion planets in the Milky Way, at least 10 billion Earth-like planets. Many have been around billions of years longer than Earth. But we're observing 0 galactic civilizations. We should be able to see something, but there's nothing. Space seems to be empty and dead. This means something is preventing living things from climbing the staircase beyond the step we're on right now. Something that makes becoming a galactic civilization extremely hard, maybe impossible. This is the Great Filter, a challenge or danger so hard.
What are we? Aren't we like a level 0 civilization? Because we're still stuck using oil and shit? Isn't that a 0.7 out of 1 civilization? Yeah, Queb did talk about this. You're right. VR porn? I don't know what level of civilization that puts us on.
Hard to overcome that it eliminates almost every species that encounters it. There are 2 scenarios. One means we are incredibly special and lucky. The other one means we are doomed and practically already dead. It depends on where the filter is on our staircase. Behind or ahead of us. Scenario 1. The filter is behind us. We are the first. If the filter is behind us, that means that one of the steps we passed is almost impossible to take. Which step could it be? Is life itself extremely rare? It's very hard to make predictions about how likely it is for life to emerge from dead things. There is no consensus. Some scientists think it develops everywhere where the conditions are right. Others think that Earth might be the only living place in the universe. Another candidate
That can't be true.
is the step of complex animal cells. A very specific thing happened on this step, and as far as we know, it happened exactly once. A primitive hunter cell swallowed another cell, but instead of devouring it, the 2 cells formed a union. The bigger cell provided shelter, took care of interacting with the environment and providing resources, while the smaller one used its new home and free stuff to focus on providing a lot of extra energy for its host. With the abundant energy, the host cell could grow more than before and build new and expensive things to improve itself, while the guest became the powerhouse of the cell. These cells make up every animal on the planet. Maybe there are billions of bacteria-covered planets in the Milky Way, but not a single one, apart from us, has achieved our level of complexity or intelligence. We humans feel very smart and sophisticated with our crossword puzzles and romantic novels, but a big brain is, first and foremost, a very expensive evolutionary investment. They are fragile. They don't help in a fistfight with a bear. They cost enormous amounts of energy. And despite them, it took modern humans 200,000 years to get from sharp sticks to civilization. Being smart does not
Suck
mean
Wang,
you get to
thank
win
you.
automatically. Maybe intelligence is just not so great, and we're lucky that it worked out for us. Scenario 2. The filter is ahead of us. Plenty of others died already.
First Take Joe, thank you so much.
The filter before us is orders of magnitude more dangerous than anything we encountered so far. Even if a major disaster killed most of us or threw us
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell in chat.
And if we can recover, even if it takes 1 million years, then it's not a great filter, but just a roadblock to an eventual galactic civilization. On universal timescales, even millions of years are just the blink of an eye. If a great filter really lies before us, it has to be so dangerous, so purely devastating and powerful that it has destroyed
Yes, you did,
most,
Stinger.
if not all, advanced civilizations in our galaxy over billions of years. A really daunting and depressing hypothesis is that once a species takes control over its planet, it's already on the path to self-destruction. Technology is a good way to achieve that. It needs to be something that's so obvious that virtually everybody discovers it, and so dangerous that its discovery leads almost universally to an existential disaster. A large-scale nuclear war. Nanotechnology that gets out of control. Genetic engineering of the perfect superbug. An experiment that lights the whole atmosphere on fire. It might be a super-intelligent AI that accidentally or purposely destroys its creators.
So basically there's a lot of ways for
Things
shit
that
to
we
go
can't
wrong.
even see coming right now. Or it's way simpler. Species competitive enough to take over their planet necessarily destroy it while competing with each other for resources. Maybe there are runaway chain reactions in every ecosystem that once set in motion are not fixable. And so once a civilization is powerful enough to change the composition of its atmosphere, they make their planet uninhabitable 100% of the time. Let's hope that that's not the case. If the filter is ahead of us, our odds are really bad. What we can hope for. This is why finding life beyond Earth would be horrible. The more common life is in the universe, and the more advanced and complex it is, the more likely it becomes that a filter is in front of us. Bacteria would be bad, small animals would be worse, intelligent life would be alarming. Ruins of ancient alien civilizations would be horrible. The best case scenario for us right now is that Mars is sterile, that Europa's oceans are devoid of life, and the vast arms of the Milky Way harbor only empty oceans hugging dead continents. That there are billions of empty planets waiting to be discovered and to be filled up with life. Billions of new homes waiting for us to finally arrive. How likely is it that we'll find life outside of Earth that is similar to us? Well, that depends on how many planets there are out there in their star's Goldilocks zone.
I know, I
around
got
the
it.
star where water can be liquid. Because stars come in all sizes and configurations, this zone is different for every star system and requires a little bit of physics to figure out. If that sounds like fun to you, this quiz from Brilliant helps to break down the maths for exactly how this is calculated. Brilliant is a problem-solving website that teaches you to think like a scientist by guiding you through problems. They take concepts like these, break them up into bite-sized bits, present clear thinking in...
Yeah, that part was an ad. Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. Vsauce, Michael here. Oh, take the quiz. I already took the, well, I'm not taking this quiz. I'll fail. But the people asking People asking if I passed the autism tests. Yes. I passed all 3 of them. Don't pay no heed to the people who will say that's not true. They're missing. That's all fake news. It's fake news. To the brim, fake news. It wasn't 25% autistic. It was not. I didn't hit the threshold. You can't add it up. That's cheating. If I fail 3 tests with a 30% each, do I get to say I got an A- actually? No. I don't. I don't get to say that. And someone was asking about Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, first of all, if you guys haven't been coming out to those streams, those have been a fuck ton of fun. That game's awesome. But I didn't, this is a pre-PKA stream, and so I didn't have enough time to, play GTA. I wouldn't want to just play GTA for like an hour and a half. I'd want to be able to play for at least a few hours, feel like I'm making some headway, and be getting better at driving. I was like genuinely stressed out last night playing Grand Theft Auto trying to land that fucking plane. I hated that. That was not fun. Trying to land that goddamn plane. I looked like a retard to everyone. I'm doing story mode. Yeah, everybody's saying story's the way to go. Runax, thanks for the $3. Why the fuck didn't you guys make Blade show his feet? I know it's not polite, but fuck. I dropped the ball there. My bad. I didn't even think to have him show his feet after he told us about it. But I could have been better about hounding him for the feet images. Story is gas. Can't believe you haven't played it. Yeah, I've never. Boys, shut up! Fozzie, Teddy, stop! Swear to God, they hate people riding on their bikes in front of my house. They feel like it's their territory. It's not, boys. That's public. Kill the dogs. No. I love my dogs. They're good dogs. To me. Oh, when I play Red Dead Redemption 2. So, the way people have described Red Dead Redemption, they're like, oh, it's like Grand Theft Auto, but old-timey. Where, like, instead of hitting someone with a car, you, like, you go to a cattle ranch and you shoot the farmer and you steal jewels or whatever the hell. I never played Red Dead Redemption 1. When were the GTA streams? I've done it twice in the last few days. Yeah, I did one for like a little over 4 hours and one for almost 3 hours, so I'm getting into it. It's not very accurate about Red Dead Redemption 2 versus GTA. Red Dead 2 is more than Grand Theft Auto. Just follow lots of split opinions on Red Dead Redemption here. Some people saying it fucking rules, other people saying it sucks ass. I've never even really watched that game, so I don't know what I'd be in for. Red Dead Redemption's better than Red Dead Redemption 2. No, I'm not going to switch from Red Dead Redemption, or from Grand Theft Auto 5 to Red Dead Redemption. I'm finishing Grand Theft Auto. Definitely finishing Grand Theft Auto. That game is so... I cannot believe I haven't played that game before. It's awesome. I'll definitely be playing quite a few more hours of Grand Theft Auto this weekend, getting more into it. I got to keep my driving skill on point, because I feel confident driving when I'm Franklin, because he's got driving skill, his special with the driving. But when I'm driving with Trevor or Michael, not nearly as confident. Not nearly as fucking confident. And I'm never going to feel confident behind the wheel of that plane. I hope there aren't a bunch of fucking plane missions in the future. Am I going to do the Grand Theft Auto roleplay servers? I think you'd like it. Maybe. I haven't looked into it at all, and if I'm being honest, I still don't fully understand what it means, other than I'm in there like pretending to be Trevor or my own character, I guess. But part of the fun... Yeah, I did lift today. I'm lifting every day, or not every day. I'm lifting 5 or 6 times a week. This past week I did 5 because my fucking quads and hamstrings and ass were so sore that I had to take Sunday as a break as well. GTA 5 online is pretty fun. See, like, I don't want to live to be in a world where everybody's going bananas and doing what I do when I'm playing story mode, you know? I want to be in a world where I'm the only guy doing that. And I would get my shit pushed in because I don't know how to aim very well, and I'm not good with the buttons. So, I'm not an epic gamer. I've never been that good of a gamer. Like, I was serviceable in Call of Duty when I was playing all the time. I was pretty good at that. I was usually top of the leaderboards when I'd play. But, like, if I played with other YouTube people who, like, made it their point to play a bunch, like, of course I wasn't competing with them. I'm not good with the buttons. Yeah, I guess that was a real boomer way to say it. Will you play the older Grand Theft Auto game? What are the best Grand Theft Auto games? Everybody's saying GTA 5, top tier. GTA 4, some people were even saying that was just as good as 5. Is San Andreas Grand Theft Auto 4? Is that what it is? Oh, that's a different one than San Andreas. San Andreas came out in 2004? Wow. And you guys think that's still worth playing? Something I'm loving about the Grand Theft Auto 5 is how fucking funny it is. And some of you are saying San Andreas is more of a maybe a little more serious. Okay, well, if there's any interest after I'm done with Grand Theft Auto 5, I'll pick up Grand Theft Auto San Andreas or Grand Theft Auto 4. You got to really like the story to get past the graphics. Yeah, but anybody who's watching is going to know. They're going to know. They're going to go into it expecting graphics to be kind of shit. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Good lord, how old is that one? I remember people playing that. Getting really into it. Vice City. 2002. Yeah. That's what all the cool kids in middle school were playing. GTA Vice City. Just, I don't know why I didn't get into it. I should have. All right, I want to watch one more thing about, like, space or some shit. Someone said there was a Vsauce one that was cool about space. Fire Red or Emerald. Oh, a Pokemon game. That could be fun. I don't think anybody really wants to watch me play Pokemon, though. Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2. Dude, it is impossible to fucking find that game for purchase anywhere. You'd watch Pokemon? All right, maybe I'd try that then. Modded Pokemon? I don't want to cheat. Or what would modded Pokemon do? Like give Charizard tits? Big boys cheat when they want. Yeah. Here we go. Thank you very much. Here's the bomb video I was looking for. Or one of them, I guess.
Hey.
2011. Tiggs So Fly. Thank you so much for the sub.
Vsauce, Michael here, and today I'm in my apartment. But when I was in Kansas with family, my dad lit off what is known as a quarter stick. But don't worry, absolutely no children were around.
Isn't an M80 an eighth of a stick of dynamite?
Okay, look, the point is that today we're going to talk about explosives. Let's begin way down the scale with black powder, or smokeless powder, which many modern rounds use. Now, usually smokeless powder doesn't even detonate. Instead, it deflagrates. Technically, an explosion is only a detonation when the material or the gases expelled travel faster than the speed of sound. If the explosion is subsonic, you're only dealing with a deflagration. Now, we want a bullet's propellant
Seeing
to
shockwaves is so
deflagrate,
cool.
not detonate, because we want it to have enough power to move the bullet quickly, but not release its energy so fast as to damage the gun or ourselves. Take a look at some smokeless powder lit in the open in slow motion. It burns very strongly and quickly, but at all times, the gases it expels never exceed the speed of sound, and no shockwave is produced. We're looking at deflagration here, not detonation. To compare,
I'm already
this
learning.
is nitroglycerin. It's so fragile, you hit it with a hammer and it detonates. Even at a slower speed, we can see that all the material immediately explodes. Consumer fireworks use black powder, gunpowder, and as such, they don't have enough power to really ever be said to detonate. The same goes for that quarter stick you saw my dad light off. Those and M80s and cherry bombs are louder and often illegal, but they burn flash powder, not a high explosive like dynamite. But that doesn't mean fireworks can't be amazing. Currently, some of the largest shells in use are 48 inches across. When exploded in the air, a 48-inch shell looks like this.
Oh, so it's like a fun little explosion.
Or like this. Oh yeah, when they fail to launch and burst on the ground instead, it looks like this. But let's move on to detonations. No matter what material
Everybody was
releases
laughing,
energy,
seems
whether
fine.
it's a conventional explosive or a nuclear bomb or an asteroid impact or an earthquake, they are all commonly measured by saying how much TNT you would have to detonate to get an equivalently strong explosion. To give you a sense of scale, here is the detonation of approximately 100 tons of TNT by a defense contractor disposing of explosives. Unlike deflagrations, detonations
They should have had a guy
produce
stand by
a
it so I could see how big it
which
is.
is just that, a wave made of areas of high pressure and low pressure. This explosion was so powerful, the area of low pressure had such low pressure that water vapor in the air around it condensed momentarily, which formed this cloud. And here's a video of an explosion where the shockwave is particularly visible as it approaches and hits the cameraman.
Oh, that's awesome.
Holy! You can also see shock condensation clouds around these explosions set off by the United States in Hawaii in 1965. The US wanted to know how nuclear attacks would affect naval ships, so they detonated an equivalent amount of TNT on an island
It's like
with
a
US
Lego
ships
building.
anchored nearby. This pile contains 500 tons of TNT waiting to explode. When it does, it looks like this.
Jesus,
Earlier,
why not move the
US
boat
tested
back?
actual nuclear weapons to see how underwater detonations might affect our ships. This underwater nuclear explosion is much larger, the equivalent of not 100 tons of TNT, not 500 tons, but 8,000 tons.
Well, they wouldn't need to test the boat if they moved it.
On Hiroshima in
If they made the boats
1945,
faster.
exploded with the energy of 15,000 tons of TNT. The single most physically powerful device ever used by humanity was the Tsar bomb. The Soviet Union tested it in 1961 far up north away from civilization. It was detonated 2.5 miles above the surface of the Earth to minimize its destruction, which was unprecedented by man. The Tsar bomb exploded with a power equivalent to 50 million tons of TNT. The mushroom cloud from the Tsar bomb extended beyond our normal atmosphere into the mesosphere and dwarfed the largest clouds from US detonations. It was so large that comparatively, the bombs dropped on Japan, well, they're on the graph, way down there.
Oh my God.
But at the end of the day, nothing can beat supernovas, the explosion of an entire star. While 50 million tons may sound like a lot, one supernova is estimated to give off the energy equivalent of 10 octillion million tons.
Oh, now he's making up numbers.
I leave you with a cannon developed by the US to shoot a normal little cannonball, except that it carried a nuclear warhead. I'm pretty sure you can pick these up at Bass Pro Shop, but regardless, be sure you're subscribed to Vsauce so you don't miss anything coming up, and, as always, thanks for watching.
Never watched a lot of that guy's channel, but it seems really, really cool. Cool stuff. So, yeah, I need to watch more Vsauce stuff. Very interesting. Who knew he was making dope stuff almost 10 years ago? I didn't know that. So, all right, I have to go get myself a snack and at least give my dogs a little bit of attention before we start the show tonight. So, very good to see you guys. Thanks for coming to the pre-PKA stream. I will be starting recording that in about 25 minutes. It'll be a healthy snack. Don't you worry. I'll probably cut up a pear or something. Ugh. I'd rather eat snacks or fucking treats, but that's okay. All right, I will be doing some Grand Theft Auto this weekend. More of that. Having a great time. Please come out for it. I'll tweet about it, and I'll obviously go live here. Everybody's saying love you. I love all you guys, too. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I hope you enjoy PKA on Saturday. Talk to you later, boys.